last episode of DBZ, the Z-homies were getting their wigs pushed back by the terrible might of Lord Frieza. In a desperate last-ditch effort to turn the tides, Vegeta had Luke Cage inflict a mortal wound on him so that after he was healed, his newly gained power boost might be enough to stand up to Frieza. After being revived and feeling stronger than he ever has in his life, Vegeta approached Frieza ready to declare the fight already won, as he claimed he was now what Frieza feared the most, the legendary Super Saiyan. Vegeta began running his offense, trying to hit Frieza with everything he had, but even at his best, he was no match for Frieza's speed. In an act of absolute desperation, Vegeta gathers his energy and fires a full power ki blast directly at Frieza, who was looking up at him on Namek's surface. Piccolo asked Vegeta what the hell he's doing firing off a blast that strong at the planet's surface, but at this point Vegeta could care less and is prepared to nuke every damn living creature on the planet if it means taking out Frieza. Frieza is momentarily surprised at the power behind Vegeta's blast, but the shock does not last long as Frieza promptly kicks the blast into the air, leaving Vegeta in disbelief. I just want to take a second to shine a light on this moment too, because the English dub doesn't go into it too much, but in the manga, the narrator expresses how this moment was a turning point for Vegeta. Up to this point, the Saiyan Prince had never encountered a foe that he cannot eventually stand up against. He was a gifted warrior with noble blood, who outside of one lowly low-class Saiyan, had never known defeat a day in his life. But after watching Frieza literally kick the crap out of his most powerful attack, it left Vegeta feeling something he had never experienced before in his life: true terror and despair. Frieza left a fear in Vegeta's heart that struck him to the depths of his soul. This culmination of emotions, the realization that his best was just not good enough, that no attack he could throw out would matter, that his life was in another creature's hands and there wasn't a damn thing that he could do about it, this cacophony of feelings hit Vegeta squarely in his ego, and all he could do after coming face to face with it was cry. Cry for the first time in his life, and what precedes this moment is just a pure unadulterated beatdown. But one thing I really gotta comment on before we really get into it is how the anime version went ham on this section where Frieza starts cooking up Vegeta. I promise y'all, one of the animators or storyboard directors really did not like this, man, because they made sure they took their time really setting up the ass beating this dude was about to catch. They had Frieza knock this boy Vegeta into the water, right? Then this man Frieza stands on a small piece of land and parts the Namekian Sea like Moses as he makes his way over to him. Then this dude Frieza yokes Vegeta up with his tail, and as he lifts him up, this man Vegeta has crabs crawling all over him for some reason. Then tell me why this man Frieza picks up one of the crabs crawling over this dude's Vegeta and eats it whole.
Fresh local Delaware runoff crabs. People gotta eat.
Then starts giving Vegeta the back shots of the century. Like, do you know what kind of demon you have to be just to eat a whole crab in a single bite? This dude Frieza was really acting like he was on a date with the prince. Took the man out to Red Lobster, then proceeded to take him home for some back shots. All Buddy was missing was the little cheddar biscuits. Don't even get me started with the back shots either. Frieza was putting everything he had into Vegeta's back, I promise you. Behind Buddy smashing him so hard every hit sounded like artillery fire from a World War II howitzer. Top off the disrespect Sunday, this man Frieza proceeds to look over at Larry, Moe, and Curly, telling them that they're free to step in and help their boy whenever they feel like. And guess how many of them fellows stepped up to the plate? If you guessed exactly 0, you would be 100% correct. Not a single one of them dudes took a step forward. Y'all, I know DBZ isn't a seinen trying to have a crazy mature story or anything like that, but I really wish this series would have explored how these fellas' experience on Namek shaped them as time went on, because I promise you, I don't care if you are the most battle-hardened warrior in the whole world, you do not go through what these fellas went through on the planet without some type of trauma. Like, the more I look back at everything that popped off on this planet, the more I realize what a hellscape it was. Like, stuff really went down on planet Namek. Pretty much any type of war crime you can name, friends being tortured in front of other lifelong friends, life-altering injuries, watching Vegeta get some Dodoria, just tragedy after tragedy, y'all. Eventually, Frieza goes bored with his pint-sized punching bag and chucks it across the landscape. He acknowledges that it appears Vegeta has lost his will to fight, thus boring Frieza, meaning that it's time to wrap this show up. Before Vegeta catches his final curtain call, though, we cut to Goku, who is now fully healed from his wounds. After emerging from the chamber, Goku is surprised at his own power, remarking on how it even scares him a little bit. Kakarot takes a brief moment to appreciate the breeze on the wind, then moves like a flash over to Frieza's location. The speed of Goku's arrival shocks everyone, but after a moment his friends are able to register that's actually actually him. Goku remarks on Piccolo's increased strength and apologizes for a late arrival, but tells his homies that he'll take it from here. Frieza moves his attention over to Goku and is shocked to realize that his face looks familiar. Frieza registers him as bearing an almost identical resemblance to the Saiyan he smoked that tried to start an uprising right before he lit up the entirety of Planet Vegeta. What's always been mad funny to me, bruh, is with how much this fella Frieza hates Saiyans, he sure seems to remember a lot of their history, names, and faces. I'ma just let that cook though. Goku tells Frieza that he still has to run Vegeta's fade later, so taking him out is off limits. Frieza shrugs off the disrespect, then proceeds to knock Goku's head off with a flying kick, but Goku is quick to react and puts his blue Grant Stone diesels into Frieza's cheek before returning to their initial locations. Frieza is shocked and impressed at Goku's speed, but then proceeds to test him further by shooting a series of death beams at him, doubting he has any real chance to handle the barrage of attacks. Little does he know that Goku has also trained under Mr. Miyagi and begins hitting him with the wax on, wax off, deflecting each of Frieza's beams effortlessly with one hand. And y'all already know Vegeta was laying on the floor with a tenderized ribcage, absolutely geeked at seeing Frieza getting caught lacking at the hands of a Saiyan. Even at death's door, Vegeta can't help but pop off, taking a few moments to tell Frieza that he is absolutely cooked, telling him how Kakarot is built different and that he may have thought it was Cap before, but he just came up on the real legendary Super Saiyan and his ass is grass. Frieza's run out of patience for the stories of soon-to-be dead men, however, and shoots a death beam directly into Vegeta's heart. In his final moments, with tears in his eyes and casting all pride aside, Vegeta tells Kakarot that if he hopes to finish Frieza, any and all sense of mercy must leave his heart. With the last of his energy, he tells Goku of the history of their people, how their planet wasn't destroyed by some wayward meteor, but rather by Frieza himself. The Saiyan served as his hands and muscles, but he cast them aside in moments out of fear that a Super Saiyan would arise among their ranks and deliver them from their oppression. Vegeta then makes one final request, that Goku defeat Frieza at all costs, as it is only right that he should fall at the hands of a Saiyan. And with uttering his last request, the mighty Vegeta falls on the battlefield. As the battlefield is overcome with an eerie sense of quiet, almost like the calm before a storm, using only the force of his ki, Goku creates a grave for Vegeta. As Goku picks up Vegeta's lifeless body, he expresses how Vegeta was heartless in many ways, but he had the pride of a Saiyan, and Goku asks him to give him some of that pride as well for the upcoming battle. After delivering Vegeta to a proper grave, he turns his attention to Frieza and exclaims that for all the Saiyans and Namekian he's killed, Goku intends to make sure that he destroys them. Piccolo, peeping that things are about to get critical in mere moments, gathers up the monk and Gohan to find a safe location before they end up as collateral damage in the battle of the monsters that's about to occur. Gohan leaves his father with the parting words, "Don't get smoked," before heading out with Piccolo and Krillin for a safe distance. And what's to come is an absolute masterclass in battle manga and visual storytelling. Both Toriyama and the animators who took on the televised version were in top form in this fight, and it can be difficult to explain what makes the fight so good, but I'll try my best. It isn't only the choreography that's on point, because it absolutely is, but it was the masterful build-up and everything that led up to this point that really makes the eventual confrontation between Frieza and Goku shine. What I really think separates the legendary battle manga from the mid or lackluster ones isn't just having cool looking fights, but it's the story being told behind those confrontations. People who don't really interact with Dragon Ball that much look at the surface of it and assume that it's all buff dudes throwing punches and shooting ki blasts at each other and write it off as low IQ entertainment. What they don't understand is that it's the narrative around these battles that get people who care so invested. Imagine if the Namek saga was only made up of Goku and company arriving in Namek, fighting aliens, struggling a bit, and then leaving. Even if all the fights remained exactly as they were, I truly doubt we'd be talking about this series and this arc in particular all these years later. What made each of these battles so significant is the story behind each fight. Watching our heroes first arrive to the planet, being completely outclassed and being forced to run as the villains committed atrocity after atrocity that they were unable to stop. Watching Vegeta explore his history with the Ginyu Force and Frieza himself, the years of silently holding his tongue in servitude of a ruler he despised until he's finally grown strong enough to take the revenge he'd been plotting since childhood. Seeing Goku go from a gifted earthling to something greater than both his lineage as a Saiyan and a human as he embraces both halves of himself and continually seeks to beat his limits. Each and every win, loss, and draw we've watched these characters experience up to this moment have been fuel to the fire for this confrontation, and it's this build up through the combination of narrative and visual storytelling that made this fight between Goku and Frieza one of the most legendary arcs in shonen manga all these years later. As these two behemoths trade blows, we cut to King Kai, who has his antenna up and is catching a front row seat. The C team is asking King Kai for a play-by-play at what's been happening on the ground. He tells them that Vegeta just got smoked by Frieza low diff, and now Goku's going up the bat. Hearing that Vegeta, the most powerful individual they've seen up to this point, got smoked easy mode by the menace Frieza, left them looking at each other speechless for more than a quick minute. Eventually Yamcha speaks up and is like, if Vegeta got smoked, then there's no way Goku's gonna be able to do anything. King Kai is quick to inform Yamcha that this actually doesn't seem to be the case, and currently, Goku's going bar for bar with Frieza in a fight that looks dead even. King Kai even has to acknowledge that whatever happened to Goku while he was down there, he is a world apart from the man that came to train with him a little while back, and the dude is fundamentally different. In the past, I always had difficulty finding the exact moment when the side characters became useless, but honestly, I think it's gotta be this part right here. In the past, Yamcha, Tien, and Chiaotzu were always priding themselves on working hard so they could catch back up to Goku, even if he always did just seem one step ahead for a while. But in this moment right here, you can just see the realization on their faces that ever getting to Goku's level is a pipe dream, and their time may be better spent back on Earth looking at a baseball or checking in to see how Launch is doing, because their days as the mantle of world's strongest are long gone. We return to Goku and Frieza, where the latter is acknowledging the former's strength and discussing how they did not think anyone on this universe was stronger than Ginyu outside of himself. Frieza then shoots a Ki that nukes the entire mountain Goku was standing on, and Goku then returns the favor and hits Frieza with a Ki of his own, but Frieza escapes it and knocks Goku headfirst into the water, sending him flying all the way to the bottom till he cracks his head on some rocks. And here yet again is another moment that makes me mourn for the days when they didn't make Goku an absolute numbskull like they characterized him as in Super. Here, Goku realizes that he's outmatched in raw speed by Frieza, so instead of coming to the surface and getting smoked yet again, he spends some time in the water plotting his next move. During the skirmish, Goku peeped that Frieza is unable to sense energy and decides to use this to his advantage. Using his mastery of Ki, he makes two Kamehameha orbs, and he fires the first one in the air to catch Frieza off guard. Then he sends the second one into the air as a decoy. While Frieza is focused on the orbs, Goku makes his way above him and plants both of his size 12 Timbos directly into the side of Frieza's cranium, giving him a permanent tattoo of his treads as he flies 800,000 miles through at least 3 Namekian islands in a cloud of rubble and smoke. Now, anybody else in the universe would be reaching for at least 3 glasses of milk after taking that kind of nasty drop kick. But once again, Frieza showcases to Goku exactly how different he is, shrugging the attack off like somebody threw a pillow at him and giving credit for the hit, telling Goku he ain't taken a whooping like that since his parents. Pretending like he didn't just admit to severe child abuse, Frieza decides that it's time to go on the attack and uses psychic energy to hurl some rocks at Goku. Goku manages to move out the way, but karma's back in full effect, because now Frieza caught him lacking and caught Goku in a ball of psychic energy. Frieza warns the young Saiyan that he's likely not gonna make it out of this one in one piece, and proceeds to fire Goku off directly into a plot of land, and in moments it explodes, leaving a nasty mushroom cloud and all of Goku's homies thinking that the buddy might have just bit the big one. The smoke starts to settle. Piccolo is the first to remark that he can tell Goku isn't taking this seriously yet either, and that they might have to just give him more time before calling anything quits just yet. Just as he mentions this, a slightly scratched but pretty much completely healthy Goku emerges from the attack and flies over for a face-to-face with Frieza. My favorite part of this moment is how legitimately unamused and pissed off Frieza looks that Goku shrugged that attack off, especially in the manga version. He just seems so done with the fight, and this is exactly what he tells Goku. Goku agrees that this is starting to stretch on for a bit too long as well, and they should both get serious before they wind up throwing hands all day. Frieza lets Goku pick if they'll finish things up on the air or on the ground. Goku decides the ground is just fine, so Frieza points him over to a local island when they can begin round 2, this time with the kid gloves off. I know I'm meat riding this section heavy, but another thing I love is the silent moments in between the trash talk. The way Toriyama frames the characters in the scene really makes you feel like you're watching two warrior gods go at it, and at any moment, someone could land a blow that will instantly end the fight. I'm also a big fan of the playful trash talk between Goku and Frieza as well. Frieza tells Goku that he's a mighty generous guy, and because of this, he's not going to use his hands at all while fending off Goku's attacks. Goku throws off his training gi, stretches, and thanks Frieza for his generosity before immediately rushing in to try to knock off his head. This fight's so damn good, y'all. Goku rushes in and every attack is delivered with bad intentions. This man wants blood, and every punch and kick from either side looks like if it lands clean, one of them will be going back to their home planet without a head. Frieza delivers a kick to Goku's head and is feeling himself, but in doing so leaves himself open for a throw as Goku grabs his tail and chucks that man into some rubble like this is Super Mario 64. After another exchange of attacks, Frieza goes for a classic and attempts to choke Goku out with his tail. What he doesn't understand though is that Goku has zero problem doing damn near whatever it takes to get a dub if he catches you lacking on the battlefield. He bites this man's Frieza's tail, Buddy wails out in pain, then Goku starts piecing him up until Frieza finally decides he had enough and shoots a hook across Goku's face to get some breathing room. After picking himself up off the floor, all Goku can do is smile as he lets out a quick question. I thought you weren't gonna use your hands. And right here, homie, is where we're calling it. Y'all, this section of the story is even better than I remember. It has been years since I watched this battle, and I've grown an even greater appreciation for how well done it is. The story Toriyama and the animators have managed to tell through the combat alone is something that many shonen authors strive for, but only a few manage to achieve. And watching this whole thing play out after all this time made me feel like a little kid again coming home from school to watch Toonami. Tune in next time as things start to get extra serious between Goku and Frieza in the Battle of the Titans. You're not going to miss. Be easy, everyone, and I'll talk to you in the next video.